Looks like a lot going in this problem. This is number 5 in section 7.1, the last problem in the section. Here's what they're telling us. Jobs and productivity. How do banks rate? One way to answer this question is to examine annual profits per employee. The following is data about annual profits per employee in $1,000 units for representative companies and financial services. So like this 39.7, that's this employee made profit of $39.7 thousand. All right, so we're given a bunch of numbers here. How many? We've got what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All right, 9 times 4 is 36, and 6 is 42. I hope I counted that right. So I counted n equals 42. And we're told to assume that sigma is 10.1. Now we're told use a calculator or appropriate software package to do what? To find x bar. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to put this data, all 42 numbers, into our calculator. So here's how you're going to do it. You're going to press stat. You're going to go to the stat key, press stat, and then the first thing that comes up when you press stat is edit. And that's where you want to be. You want to be under edit. So go ahead and press enter or select number 1. And when you do that, you get lists, L1, L2, L3. I think we've seen this before. And we just want list 1. So get your cursor over here in list 1. So use your arrow keys. Get your cursor over here in list 1 if you've got data in there already. And then use your up arrow key and put that cursor right on the L1 so the L1 is highlighted. Now when it's highlighted, you're going to press clear and enter. Clear and enter. All right, and then that will get rid of all the data that you have in that list 1. So get your cursor in L1, bring it all the way to the top with the up arrow, get it on the L1 so it's highlighted, press clear and enter. Now all that data is gone. So now what you're going to have to do is somehow put these 42 numbers in there. Order doesn't matter. You can either go down the columns or across the rows. Just make sure you get all of them in there. And when you get to the last one, what you should see down here is, at the very end it should say L1. Now there's 42 pieces of data, so it should say 43. That means it's expecting the 43rd piece of data. So I'm just going to put it in going down the columns. I can see it more easily. 39.7, I'll put that in, enter. 36.9, enter. 28.8, enter. 43.8, enter. Then I'll go to the next column. 56.5, enter. Dot, 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 all the way until I get to the last one, which is going to be that 54.9. Now we've got all of our data in. Now we're ready to do some statistics. So press the stat key, right? So you're going to press that stat key, and then you're going to go over to tests. Now when you go over to tests, a bunch of things come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now these actually all say tests. We're not doing tests. We're doing intervals. So you want to start here at number 7. And number 7 is a Z interval. Now we're going to use the Z interval because N is 42, which is greater than or equal to 30. And if you have a large enough sample size, we can go with a normal distribution. But also, not only that, if you look up here into the problem, we are actually given a value for sigma. So if sigma is known, or if you have a large sample, 30 or more, you can use the normal distribution, the Z interval. All right, so you go to stat, tests, go down to number 7, press enter. Once you press that Z interval, what comes up is this stuff here. The calculator is asking you to put in some information. So first of all, it wants to know how your data is coming in. So are we putting in data or statistics? Well, we're actually putting in data, right? We put all of our data, all of our individual values into list 1. So get your cursor over here on data and press enter. So you want that highlighted, select it. So we've got data. And when you press enter, it comes down to sigma. Now we're assuming by the problem sigma is 10.1, so put in 10.1, press enter, and now we've got to put in list 1, right? Our data's in list 1, so where do we get list 1? You're going to get it here. We're going to press second, and the numerical key 1, because right above that 1 is the L1. So you press second, 1, list 1 pops up, press enter, put in frequency. Frequency is 1. That just means every number that you put in once. And then the C level. Now typically when we're constructing confidence intervals, we run them at 90, 95, 99%. But looking at this problem, and just because it's a textbook problem, the C level over here that they have us running at part B is 75%. So it's a textbook, so they just put in different values here. But typically it'd be 90, 95, 99%. All right, so I'm going to put in a 75. Now you can put in 0.75 or 75. Either one works. So I'm just going to put in 75. And then I'm going to go down to calculate and press enter. And when you press enter, lots of things come up here. First of all, there's our confidence interval. Here's X bar. Now, as I see X bar, I notice that in part A up here, it says use your calculator or appropriate computer software to find X bar. Okay, so we've got X bar. Round to 2 decimal places. So what did we get? We got 34.6. Well, that's it, just 34.6, but they want it to 2 decimal places. So up here, I'm going to report this as 34.60. Now, part B. Let us say that the preceding data are representative of the entire sector of successful financial services corporation. Find a 75% confidence interval for the mean. All right, so the lower limit, and it says what? Round to 2 decimal places. All right, so here's our lower limit right here. And if I round to 2 decimal places, I'll get 32.81. So I'm going to write 32.81 here, 32.81. And the upper limit, okay, the upper limit here, 36.93. And if I round to 2 places, I'll get 36.39. 36.39, that's it. 36.39. Part C says, let us say you are the manager of a local bank with a large number of employees. Suppose the annual profits are less than $30,000 per employee. Do you think this might be somewhat low compared with other financial institutions? Explain. Well, this seems low to me. Does it seem low to you? I mean, they're talking about less than 30, and look at our interval. Our interval goes from 32 to 36, sort of, and that's at a 75%. So we're 75% sure that this interval covers most institutions, the mean of most institutions. So what would we say here? It's going to be a yes. So which yes is it? This confidence interval suggests that bank profits are less than those. This says that they do not differ. I'm going to say it is less. I'm going to go with that one right there. Part D says, suppose the annual profits are more than $40,000 per employee. Would you feel somewhat better? Yeah, because look at our interval, 32.8 to 36.3 or 36.4, and we're up at 40. So we're probably doing better than most institutions. So I would say yes, because the interval suggests the banks are higher. All right, so I'm going to go with that one. Let me see if I can mark that one. Now there's a part E. Find a 90% confidence interval. Okay, so now we have to go back and start this process over again. So go back. I'll just take us up to the top here. All right, so press Stat, over to Tests, down to number 7. Press Enter. All right, so Stat, Tests, down to number 7. Let's select our Z interval. Now everything should be there. all we have to do is go down to sea level and put in either 0.9 or just 90. All right, so I'm just going to type in 90, go down to calculate, and press enter. Now, what happens now? Lower limit and upper limit. Okay, so now the lower limit, I'm getting round to 2 decimal places. I'm getting this. I'm getting 32.04 to 2 decimal places. And the upper limit, I'm getting at 37.16. Now, it looks like it might be the same questions. Let's say you're the bank manager and so on, and your profits are less than 30. So, do you think this might be somewhat low? Yeah, it's still low, right? I mean, the confidence interval changed just slightly and went from the low of 32.8 to 32.04. So I'm going to say, yeah, it still seems less. I don't think anything has changed there. And then what about part G? Suppose there are more than 40. Okay, I don't think anything has changed, at least the way this problem is worded. So, yes, the confidence interval suggests that bank profits are higher. I'm still going to go with that one. And that ends problem number 5. And I think that's all of them in this section.